Y'all, we are in the place, y'all, with the Knicks. And I'm gonna stop and let my wife told me to calm down, but I'm gonna calm down. Welcome to WFTB 104.1 Tab Nashville Gospel Radio, also being recorded. Sacrificial Conversations podcast, dual situation. And I keep telling y'all, God is doing some amazing things. And tonight, y'all, totally excited about what's about to go down tonight. I got to say that. Totally excited. And to be able to help this young lady. Like I say, y'all, we've done an interview on her, but we met this young lady a long time ago. And when we met her, the level that she's about to go to now, you all, we never thought that it would be this level. And she's about to take it to the top of the levels of her career. And I'm so excited tonight, you all. Like I said, excited. I'm over here. I got chills, y'all. I really have chills tonight about the conversation that we're about to have tonight. So I'm going to give it to you right now and let you because I don't want to let the cat out the bag, because I'm ready. My mouth is, I'm like, I got
a big mouth.
Yeah, yes. So Miss Styles, Miss Joyce, how are you doing tonight? Hello.
I am wonderful, and I am really glad to be back.
Yes.
We're
glad you decided to come back.
Yes. And that intro music gets you all excited.
All excited.
New.
Everything new.
New. I'm here for it.
Yes.
Yes. So, yeah, Monica, I'm gonna be quiet for a minute.
You're gonna be quiet. Gonna be quiet? I can't believe that.
Come on.
So, I'm very grateful that you have me on this evening. 3 weeks ago, tomorrow, I announced that I am running to be the next mayor of Nashville in 2027.
Yes.
Woo!
Can we say an African-American Black woman as mayor in Nashville, Tennessee?
People are ready.
Yes.
The city is
ready.
We
are ready.
This is not a matter of having to go up against racial issues. Mm-hmm. This is about having the right leadership in place to lead Nashville into its next season.
Yes.
Because I think it's very apparent right now. This is my second term on Metro City Council. Mm-hmm. And it is so clear that we are moving in the wrong direction. Current leadership is very indecisive, which is not what you need when you have an ice storm that's historic, when you have a company coming from out of state to do work, to drill holes in the city. I mean, you name it, the ICE raids from last year, the reasons why things were done the way that they were done, never has anything to do with being proactive. It's reactive. It's usually petty. And that doesn't benefit Nashvillians.
Right.
What Nashvillians need in a crisis is someone to stand up and say, I'm here for you.
Yes.
This is what we're doing. Let me over-communicate with you in the midst of a crisis. You can't under-communicate. You can't take multiple days to respond in the midst of a crisis and people have no power and they're asking, how do I make a decision whether I get a hotel? Can you tell me? And it's crickets.
Wow.
Right? That's not leadership.
Wow.
That's failure.
Wow. So as you run for mayor, I know we was out talking off the air.
Yes.
So what's the ultimate, goal? What's the ultimate thing that you need when you're running for mayor?
So let me start by telling people what I'm about. Because I ran in 2019 for my very first race ever in life. So that was the first time I ever ran for an elected office and won that office. In the second term, I ran unopposed, and nobody in this district has ever done that historically. People, purpose, and passion. That's why I run. And that is accountability, it's transparency, it's responsibility, it's leadership, it's community engagement. That is public safety. That is quality of life. That's making sure that whether you live on a postage stamp or if you live on 5 acres, you you have peace of mind when you come home every night.
Yes.
Every person in Nashville is entitled to that.
Yes.
And it's not about making 3 or 4 zip codes comfortable or believing that 3 or 4 zip codes can determine the entire future of this city. It's recognizing that the character of every single neighborhood is what makes Nashville Nashville.
Yes.
It's not just Broadway. Broadway is important. Bachelor parties, bachelorette parties. We're making a lot of money off of people coming to town and having that experience. But some people don't want a live experience like that. Maybe they want to come out here and shop at Tanger and then go play a game at Pop Stroke. Right? And then be able, when our hotels are done, to be able to spend the night out here and go down to the city and come back out to quiet.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
In the same way that maybe they want to go up to East Nashville and go to the Tomato Fest, or go to Green Hills and go shopping, or go up to Jolton and participate in the Christmas parade. All of those different parts of town have a different vibe, but every vibe is valid. And so we need to have leadership that values every part of the city, not just during campaign season, but the entire time, because that's how an entire mayoral administration should be judged by: what do you do for everyone?
Yes.
And not just for a few. And not lip service from your campaign run, but when you got in office, I can point to the things that you did for the people that you said you needed when you were running. Those are the same people that should be able to call on you once you're in office.
Right. Wow.
You answered a lot of what I was gonna ask, because I was gonna ask you after you win. All right, you hear me keep on
Claim
saying
it,
this.
claim it,
and I
claim
keep
it,
on.
claim it.
Yes, I'm snapping them fingers with this thing. But I was gonna ask you, what would Nashville look like after 4 years of you being the mayor of Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee?
That is a fantastic question. And what that looks like is an engagement level that is more than what it is now. That is understanding that when you go to a different part of town, there's a welcoming event that's over there from no matter what part of town you're a part of. In the same way that we have Southeast Community Day that says, hey, kids are going back to school, come get a pre-packed backpack full of supplies. It doesn't matter where you come from. Yes, we're holding it here, but we want everyone to be able to come over and get themselves a backpack. We live here in Antioch. Why can't we go to East Nashville and enjoy the Hot Chicken Festival or the Tomato Art Festival? It's about being welcoming no matter where you go, and understanding that we're all a part of what makes Nashville great. And everyone should be comfortable to go in all parts of the city and feel welcome. That's what I want people to feel like at the end of 4 years with me. It's like, we don't want to go back to operating in silos. We want to continue working together to make Nashville the wonderful place that we know it can be, and not divisive in any way.
Absolutely, Joe. Absolutely.
And also economic development. I have additional economic development ideas that I would like to do being in office. Some things have been stopped that need to be started. Some things need to be created. Again, bringing people together means doing new things.
Can you give us an example of some things that was stopped that you feel like would bring something, exciting or something rejuvenating back to Nashville?
Absolutely. The Christmas parade. The downtown Christmas parade.
Okay, I remember that.
Right?
I remember that.
And it stopped because you probably don't know this, because I didn't know it either. We didn't put that on. That was not a city parade. The city was asked to be a part of it, but we didn't host nary one piece of it. Now, does that make sense?
No, it does not.
That we would not host a parade, a holiday parade for the city, and invite other people to participate and have sponsors. So that's what I'm working on for this year, is the public-private partnership where we host it again.
Yeah.
People should be able to have that. It's a fun event. Lots of people come. Kind of a no-brainer to me.
That was an amazing time. Monica, you might not know. Did you go to the parade with us back in the day? Did we go together?
I don't remember any parade.
Oh my goodness! This girl has been here 30-something years and don't remember. Okay.
I mean, I just remember
Christmas
the
parade with floats.
but I don't remember the Christmas parade.
Yes, Nashville had an amazing parade. It was really big. Yes, and it's for you to say that it was not sponsored by Nashville. I mean, was it outsourced by?
It was done by Piedmont Gas and some other businesses put it together every year, and then the city would be invited, right? The mayor would be invited to ride on a float, but we weren't participating in it. That is insane.
Wow.
So it needs to come back because it brought out hundreds of people. And if you
Hundreds,
bring it
yes.
back, you're talking about having thousands of people and having a city parade like other cities have, where you have engagement. And imagine that you can come out, you could do that parade, but then you could also have vendors that are out and contributing to the economy. And it's just a wonderful day, morning, because it was in the morning.
Okay.
And it's just a great kickoff. And when it's finished, you're already down there by the river, and you could walk around some more if you wanted to, spend some time with your friends and your family.
And shop downtown, eat downtown. It's so much
Exactly.
that comes with that. That is great. That is amazing.
And
girl.
another opportunity for you to want to come from out of town to say Nashville's got a really great Christmas parade.
Yes.
So, I'm an event person.
You look like you love it. Come on.
Experiences.
I do. I have a question. So, what happened in this city that made you say it's time for me to run for mayor?
I think I started thinking about this last term when I realized how many things are designed to be broken in this city. It is intentional to wear you down so you will give up. You won't hold people accountable. And how many people are in positions of accountability that would rather you get worn out than to do the right thing?
Wow.
And so when we were coming out of last term, people were running. I thought someone else was going to win the race. I did not endorse this mayor because I knew what we have right now is exactly what we would get, which is pretty much nothing. But once he got in, the way that he has halted the work at the Global Mall, and all we have is a gaping hole from where the interior has been torn down and nothing has moved over there. And now he wants to spend money only on the infrastructure for the transit center, but not for the entirety of the site that has a full plan that we as a community created and shared publicly before he got in office in 23. That's the kind of pettiness, right? When he has an issue with someone personally, because you know me, I'm all about accountability. So every time he drops the ball, I tell people. And to punish constituents because of that is just so disgusting, frankly, because the mall has been a blighted site for over 10 years.
Over 10 years.
And now the city owns it, and we have all this development out here.
Wow.
All this great stuff, and the one thing the city owns is defunct. That's a statement of lack of leadership. And all the attention that goes to the invisible city, which is the East Bank. Not enough on the existing neighborhoods that are in need. That's what we've seen for the last 3 years.
So my daughter sent me something. Sadly, to see Rivergate Mall is gone.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going on with that? I'm like, another mall?
Correct.
Totally. That's a huge disappointment for me. I'm like, wow, that's a lot of land
That
too.
started last term. So part of it, it's so weird. The county line goes through Rivergate Mall property. So part of it is Davidson, and then part of it is Sumner County, Gallatin, Goodlettsville, all of that. So we each had to vote on what we wanted to do with it through our individual city councils.
Mm-hmm.
So the previous representative for District 10 rezoned it so there could be apartments where the Macy's is.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Goodlettsville City Council had to vote on wanting to utilize the rest of the property. And then during this term, that council member has been gone, but a previous council member was made our chief development officer, though he has no development qualifications whatsoever. And so he fancied himself to create a deal that he thought was better than the Global Mall. So they spent time on that could have been spent, right, on making sure that the Global Mall was getting attention as well. It never was. However, Rivergate does have a plan, and the city made a deal with the developers that are coming onto that site. So that is going to be mixed use product, kind of a private public land lease situation.
So I'm really enjoying seeing how all sides of Nashville is it's growing. You're seeing the economic side of small businesses growing. You're seeing that now, and that's big for Nashville to see small businesses grow and be able to, function well in this city. With that going on, what being the councilwoman doing everything that you did for Antioch and with what happened over there in Tangle Mall and everything. How is that going to affect you going into being the mayor? Did you take some of that leadership quality from being the councilwoman to make it to see what you saw go and happen over there? You're going to take that same model and make it happen for the whole the whole city of Nashville?
So that would be the plan, right? You scale up. You look at this, what we've done out here with Century Farms, what we're doing right now with Starwood site and turning that into mixed use with a brand new performance venue and restaurants and stores, and then also housing on that site, revitalizing the rest of Murfreesboro Road down to the county line. That's about looking at the city as a whole and looking at opportunities for that, working with people, working with, say, an Oracle to say, what is it that you see when you want to come here? The East Bank kind of came out of those conversations last term with the previous mayor, having a conversation with Oracle and him saying, okay, here's the East Bank plan. That is squarely on former Mayor Cooper's shoulders, the East Bank project. There's been nothing spearheaded in this administration other than the non-transit transit plan. I think as I look at the entirety of the city, as I was sharing, it's about how do you engage every community so that every community feels valued? Because part of what you have experienced, I am sure, is to hear people say, why should I vote? My vote doesn't matter, because no one has turned around and provided for the area in which they live. And so if people feel like my vote doesn't matter because you're not going to care even if I give it to you. Right. You have to see that someone's going to take that vote and then pour back into you. And then that's how you get more people engaged. Tennessee has one of the lowest voter turnouts for the entire country.
Wow.
And then Nashville's numbers are also pretty pitiful. So you've got to figure out how you get people excited about change. And that's to do something different, right? The cliche is you can't get something new doing the same old, or you can't pour new wine into old wineskins. So we have to do something different in order to really actualize how amazing we are as an entire city.
So I have a question. So I know Councilwoman, that's one title. And you've accomplished a lot. Do sometime in your mind, because of the lack that Nashville has, it's kind of like an elephant. Okay. So do sometime your brain, you like, oh, this is going to be like too much because you got to fix a lot of things in Nashville. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at Tanger and I'm very pleased. Like tonight, I was like, babe, let's go to the new Texas Roadhouse. We got things to do now. We've been to Pop Store. We are exploring. We're excited. I want to get to Chinatown. You talked about Chinatown, so you have done a lot. But now we're talking about Nashville. You're gonna tackle this big elephant. Do sometimes you feel overwhelmed and maybe a little scared?
No.
Okay.
I think one of my life models is do it afraid. Like no matter what, it has to get done. So if not you, who's going to do it? And certainly what I found is a lot of people would rather be afraid of people's responses or thoughts about what they're doing than doing the actual work that needs to get done. You can't do everything overnight. You have to have a plan. And I have been actively working on the things that I want to get done as mayor. You have to have a starting point. And you have to have an ending point. And then you run the in-between. And as I said, as I look at the entirety of the city, I've had 8 years to hear concerns from all parts of the city. So being able to address those issues so that those communities know we hear you, we value what you're saying, and we need to look into that. I think we do a lot of studies for study's sakes. We claim that we have a plan for the entire city, but we don't, because right now the Nashville Next from over 11 years ago is outdated, and we're still trying to make plans off of an old plan, and we haven't been presented with the new one yet. We really need to know, what does every community want and need? We just now got a Cane Ridge community plan done. Just now, last year.
Wow.
So that's critical. So for all of these years, we've been operating off of outdated information and building up development out here. And you really have to say, okay, what does Cane Ridge want? We're balancing density. You can't just do density for density's sake. Housing everywhere, including in your closet. Like, that's what I feel like people have been working towards in this last year, and it's infuriating Nashvillians, and rightfully so. Our job as council members is not to tell you how to spend your money. Our job is to look at the holistic view of the city and say, where are the areas where density makes sense? Along major corridors, sure. So why aren't we focusing on major corridors? Why are we creating these new zoning codes and shoving them down people's throats and saying, I know better than you? And that's what happened in this last year.
I gotta go ahead and get this out here. This is something that Nashville had a terrible, terrible storm that came through this city and erupted, sparked so many angry people on so many conversations. The salon was like lit because of an ice storm. And I want to get that whole situation out on the table real quick, because being the next mayor, I'm tripping out, but people are going to want to know what are we going to do? Because it was bad. I mean, to see my pastor demonstrated what the trees look like, and I said the same thing. The trees looked like they were bowing to God after that ice was on them. The lines in front of our house sunk down to almost where we could touch the lines. So let's talk about everything that you can that can soothe the people, to let them know that you're the right person for the next ice storm.
So here's what went wrong, how things should have been different. Atlanta called in 10,000 additional linemen. Louisville called in 5,000. North Carolina called in 18,000. We called in none. What NES is telling you is, we thought it was going to be snow, so we were planning for snow. That's unacceptable. We always get ice, so you always have to plan for ice. We didn't have boots on the ground. You know, the numbers that they were sharing in the subsequent days after the power went out about, like, we're working really hard, guys, we're going to get your power back on. What they were doing is calling in the people that should have been here to begin with. And they should have been here on Friday night.
Wow.
On Friday night in hotels that they paid for, and that they stayed Friday night and Saturday night. So when they woke up on Sunday, they said, well, Saturday wasn't the day, but Sunday is the day. And it's time to roll out. Imagine that we had 1,700 linemen here in town starting to work on that Sunday. We're not out of power for 11 days. We're out of power probably for 4 or 5 days, which would have made people angry. But the reality is, we were losing power no matter how you slice it.
Absolutely.
This was not about preventing power from going out. This is how long it was going to be out. And that's what could have happened. And that falls squarely on the VP of operations at NES. Because the president of any organization says, I'm hiring people to delegate to. His responsibility was preparing linemen. She asked him what he did. He brought it. She trusted him. He dropped the ball.
Wow.
People are calling for her head. I get it. But I've worked with her for the last 3 years out here on the grid.
Okay.
And having representation at community meetings and making sure that we have updates and knowing what's going on and investments into the area, because we are the fastest growing part of town, right? And so I had personal experience with her. So I'm not just out of the blue saying, she's got to go, which is what a lot of people are doing. I know her to be someone who has ethics and integrity. The PR firm that was hired to handle this is a hot mess. They have had her doubling down on tales and lies. And I had a conversation with her and I said, you have got to walk away from them because they are telling you all the wrong things to do in a crisis. In a crisis, you don't gaslight people and tell them, you know, you have this in control when you don't. Mm-hmm. You own up to the fact that the ball was dropped from Jump Street. Yes. You apologize. Mm-hmm. And I told her, I said, apologize to people. That's what they want to hear. You can't fix anything literally with the lines with an apology, but it goes a long way for people to give you grace if you own up and say, I failed you. I was supposed to have done X, Y, Z. Mm-hmm. Now that handles NES. NES dropped the ball. The tree trimming, there's so many trees out here in Cane Ridge that were supposed to have been trimmed months ago that would not have fallen and taken out the power that they did. But because they cut the tree trimming budget, they have not been on top of tree trimming. That adds to how many people were out. Then you have to talk about Metro. We were a hot slaw mess as well. We were opening warming centers and shelters without good communication. The Red Cross was here scrambling to figure things out. I was at my shelter every single day for the 2 weeks it was open, and I was there twice a day to make sure that things were running smoothly because so many things were not being communicated. And there were people that should have been on site that weren't on site. And so the Red Cross would call me and say, hey, we're down to this and can you help us? And then I'd go to Walmart and go buy something to make sure that things were going smoothly because Metro had dropped the ball so terribly. Mm-hmm. In the midst of an emergency, we are sending people to call a number for transportation that when I called it to be sure before I shared it because I knew what I was dealing with, told me they'd only pick you up if you were on a main road. Now, how do you get out of your house if your driveway in your streets are iced over to the main road? So why are we as a city advertising their services?
Right.
Nonsense. And so then I started doing lives. I did a press conference because 7 days into this mess, we haven't had daily press conferences. People don't know how long their power is going to be out. And I knew for a fact that if we had linemen here, we could have moved forward. People want to talk about, well, we've got, NES has contract with certain people and those certain people. Look, you cannot tell me that you couldn't have gotten some of our contracted people here when other states managed to pull that off. That's ridiculous. So I started doing a press conference and I apologized on behalf of everybody to let people know we let them down and to say that linemen weren't called, massive failure. And that's why we're sitting here in the situation that we're sitting in right now. From a Metro standpoint, as a mayor, here's where the failure went. This is a man who doesn't have a backbone. So when all the lights went out, I believe he was told how long we'd be out, but we've already seen that he doesn't like to deal with things head on. He doesn't deal with conflict. So instead of admitting that he knew we were going to be out for a week, he just stayed quiet. And then when NES finally said it was probably going to be more time, then he suddenly wanted to change his mind because the people were getting mad. And he only changed his mind when the people got mad. Press conferences were with NES every day until people started screaming, what is going on? We don't know what's happening. We're not being communicated with. And it's too late at that point to change direction and suddenly call for a commission. But he did that after I asked the state to do an audit. So, you respond to the things that I say that I want to do or I'm doing, and then suddenly you want to be a leader. That doesn't make any sense. And when he separated and left NES on their own to lead their own press conferences, then he suddenly wanted to create a commission that he thinks people want to wait 6 months to hear from. I will give NES credit. When they came to our specially called meeting last week, they said, we're going to get this done in 90 days because you need to know what went wrong. That's the level of accountability that I'm accustomed to from hearing from the president. That's how every time I watched her, I knew someone was giving her bad advice because I knew who she was because I had already worked with her before. And so you don't leave people high and dry in the midst of a crisis either. You're either in this thing together, right? As mayor, you're supposed to ask every department, what's your plan? Day 1, day 5, God help us if we get to day 10, what is our plan? He didn't do that. And everyone was operating in a silo, independent of themselves. They weren't even in the war room until day 5. Do you understand? I haven't even done the live about this. This is the first time I'm sharing with everybody how crazy that is.
Oh my
Not
goodness.
in the war room that is designated for city emergencies for all departments to be in that room. You saw them doing a press conference in the morning, then they'd get up and walk out of the door. That is supposed to be activated immediately and on and popping until the crisis is over.
Wow.
And it was not. And we've all been so focused on NES that we haven't had time to discuss how Metro dropped the ball. And as soon as I did the live to say, don't call that mobility solutions because they will not be able to pick you up. The next thing I knew, because the mayor's office was watching every live that I did, the next thing I knew, fire and police were suddenly going out to pick people up at their homes to give them rides to shelters. That's the environment we're living in right now, reactionary behavior. That's not leadership. And we're about to go into tornado season.
Wow.
Think of that.
A change is coming, y'all. And
I hope you all are listening.
I truly hope that you all are hearing what is being said by our next mayor. I'm going to keep on saying that thing, y'all, because I truly, truly, truly understand and believe that when you have someone who, she gave you 3 P's. Passion was one of them. Purpose was another one. Well,
People.
And people. She gave you every element of what the city needs someone to represent us in, you all. So you all just got the first real conversation about what happened with this ice storm from a official person that knows, that's in the trenches for us, that's going to fight for you, that's going to get out there the next time we go through this, because we were affected. We weren't affected bad, but I'm going to say this, and I'm going to go online and say this. I'm in Antioch, and we was on the out for 12 hours. We were not out for longer than 12 hours, and I appreciate you for taking care of your district, girl. I appreciate
you were the lucky ones, because there were several people out here that were out for 11 days.
Wow. So we had some Antioch people that was out for 11 days.
Yes.
Wow.
Because every time there is a weather event, see, this is why I've been working with NES for the last 3 years. Because when that 0-degree storm hit us back in 2022, I was out. I was delivering pizzas to apartments. People's food was spoiling. The Titan Stadium was lit up like Christmas because they wanted to be able to play a game the next day.
Wow.
And we were out here. Many people were in the dark. And so I started talking to NES. I said, we need a new transformer. We need to work on this grid. I need to know how much money you're going to invest specifically in our area. You're going to come and you're going to tell us what's what. And when I went into that meeting with the president, and she was new at the time, she didn't say, okay, let me get back to you. Not to anything I asked for. She said yes to everything I asked for. Wow. And that's why I am standing beside her in this particular situation. Because, you know, when you're in the midst of a major crisis like this, and particularly if you're not a real front-facing person, she loves to be more background and handle numbers and do what needs to get done. You get the wrong advice and you don't know you're getting the wrong advice. This is what happens. But I know her instinct is to want to do the right thing. When I said, how much money are you going to invest in us? She said $5 million. That's in the next 18 months. And we're going to do X, Y, and Z, and da-da-da-da-da. Then I said, I want people to come quarterly to our meetings to let us know what investments are continuing to be done. And they've done that. TVA came out to the meetings. And so bear that in mind when you're calling for someone's head, when you have someone that can tell you they know the character of that person. Did she mess up on this? Absolutely. And I told her, I said, you haven't apologized. It's not good. And I also told her, I said, you need to fire Brent Baker. Firmly, you need to fire him, because everyone is calling for your head, and there is no way that blood doesn't get spilled on this one, because the mistakes were so massive. Somebody's going. In NES, off the board, something. In fact, there's a resolution tomorrow that's calling, for the board to fire her. But really, as a council, we appoint the board. So if we really want to say something, we just need to remove somebody from the board to say, note, you were on notice. How you handle this. I mean, they had a meeting for 30 minutes, 3 days into the power outage. 30 minutes. And nobody said anything. Nobody on the board said, hey, we want to apologize to the people we're working. We've told nothing like that was done. So when people don't own up, you do have to hold them accountable. Full stop.
Well, I want to go down a different avenue. So these roads, oh my goodness, they're treacherous. Every day I drive, I'm like, I'm dodging rocks because they're hitting the windshield, they're hitting the cars. So can you speak on that? When will they get 24 fixed?
So here's what happened. So they came and they repaved from right after the Bell Road exit down to Harding. And I think they started work heading, towards Smyrna. They didn't finish it. So I think part of the reason why these roads are deteriorating is that they never finished doing, because it got cold. And so then you added salt to that. And so now that's just disintegrating what were like the initial layers. And you can't repave a road in the wintertime. And we are not out of winter until next month. And then we move into rain, right? And so really paving is something that gets done in the late spring, summer, and early fall. So it can be done without having weather hindrance.
So we gotta wait all
You got
the way to
you got a
summer.
while. You got a while. And then we still have to ask, is it on their agenda? Because remember, they're real focused on these choice lanes right now. And so a lot of money has been set aside for those choice lanes.
Explain the choice lanes for us real quick, please.
Okay, so the state has determined that our patch of I-24 is the most congested area in the state. I think that's hands down real easy to know that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Their proposed solution is to build lanes that you can pay to get in to be able to move along during the day. And the prices will fluctuate depending on what time of day it is. So I've had them coming to District 32 community meetings, and they didn't know where they were going to place these locations. They just knew this is where we're looking. We definitely have to have one at Bell Road. This I-24 corridor, it's really messy, and we all know that. And then this weekend, they released the maps. And the location for Antioch goes through Chinatown. So I'm not getting mad yet because the map was just released. So I've already reached out to TDOT and said, hey, clearly from the slide that you have here, you did that before the project was developed. But also no one asked me if there was a plan for that space, because I could have told you what was coming. And all of this well-publicized information about Chinatown, this has been in the news for the last 2 years, that it's coming to Antioch. And if anyone had done some research, they would have known that it was going to go right there. Does it make sense to get rid of an economic driver that only being open 3 weeks has lines around the entire building that people are traveling to already from out of state and out of county to get there, for choice lanes that people in this area don't even want and have already said, I'm not using it because it's going to be expensive, right? So why not just move that entrance down Hickory Hollow Parkway, which is, where they're trying to go now. If you move it down, there's land down the street that will not impact any businesses. So I've reached out to say, I'd love to talk about it. Let's just move it, because they're already talking about displacing people that are in the right of way of TDOT along the interstate. And I get that, but make it make sense. This is open now. This has been publicized that it's open, not to mention the other 2 buildings that are coming. It doesn't make sense to get rid of something that's making money for something that isn't going to.
Right.
So I said I want to give them a couple of weeks before, we turn up at the, at public comment to say, this is not well thought out.
So, are you in agreement with the new roads or not in agreement? What's your thoughts about that?
For them to be repaired,
No, for the
the choice
the
lanes.
choice lanes.
I don't think that I don't think the group of people making the decision about choice lanes are informed enough to know how to handle these appropriately. Because every time they've come to a meeting, they haven't been able to answer all the questions and they didn't fully have a plan. And, I think in major metropolitan cities, there have been cities that have used this choice lane and people hate them and they don't use them. Or some people are using them, but they're mad because of the fluctuations because it's not controlled by the state. That's the other thing. These choice lanes are going to be run by a private company and the private company is going to set the rates.
Wow.
So, similar to toll roads, is it the same thing as a toll road?
Similar.
Okay.
Yes.
Cause see, I'm from Gary, Indiana, and I'm familiar with toll roads that we go
But
through.
see, those prices don't change based on the time of day. You've got an easy pass because up in the Northeast you have your easy pass, and this is how much it's going to charge you every time you go through.
Yeah.
It doesn't change by the hour of the day. These choice lanes will fluctuate based on if there's no traffic or if there's traffic.
Wow.
So you already know 5 o'clock, but my thing is the HOV lanes don't work. We got HOV lanes, so now we're going to have a choice lane.
Speak about that.
Yeah, I'm like, so why am I going to pay? Because you get somebody that's going to pay and decide they're going to still drive under the speed limit. I done spend my money and I'm not going to get where I need to get any faster.
There you have it.
So
because it hasn't been determined, right? How fast are you supposed to go if you're in the choice lane? Because we have so much traffic here now, for your exact point. People driving in the left lane, going almost under the speed limit, leaving 4 and 5 car lengths in front of them and creating a traffic jam behind them. Exactly. You're thinking reasonably.
Yes.
So, Mayor, what? Because that is one of the things that Nashville is with the ice storm, the roads, the traffic, the homeless situation that but I feel like with what you're gonna do and taking every location, every side of town to another level is gonna create more jobs. So we have to look at the economic side of what you're trying to do as well, because it will create more jobs, and that's key for any city to create more jobs. So I'm excited about that. But with all the failure stuff, with everything that's going on, I believe that it can happen, and I know, but do you have a lot of people opposing and working against what you're trying to do, and how do you?
Not right now, and that's because I have announced super early. I'm 18 months ahead of the game.
Okay.
And I'm doing that because I have to raise $1 million. And you can't just raise $1 million overnight. And many people will announce, later this year or in the beginning of next year, and it's like, you're going to raise $1 million in 8 months. You that cocky, and you need that money to pay for staff, right? You need it for commercials. You need it for mailers. You need it for palm cards that have to go out to the entire city. You're not talking about just 20,000 constituents anymore. And so that's important. And I think people will be able to see who I am. I'm going to different community meetings of my colleagues and engaging our area as well, because that's important.
What are other ways that we can, I know we can definitely give, but give us every possible way that we can contribute support our next mayor to win this office. What give us everything that you can possibly give us right now, please.
So again, I have to say, every penny counts and every dollar is good if you don't even live in Davidson County. If you live in Williamson County or Wilson County, please contribute, because one of the things that's critical about being the mayor is that you have to work with your surrounding county.
Absolutely.
You have to build relationships. And historically, we have not done that. When you start to talk about transit and cross county and how many people are coming into county to do work, wouldn't it make sense that we could figure out how we could create transit that goes through multiple counties if we could work together.
Yes.
But that hasn't happened. Now, I currently sit on the Cheatham County Rail Authority, and that for me is an opportunity. Even through that, I've worked with NDOT, coordinate projects. So when the railroad is doing something, we don't have to be duplicative and undo their work to do our work. We had a big project that we worked together to get it done and saved a lot of time. I am all about destroying silos. We should be working together as much as possible to get things accomplished, to get them done quickly. Not everything has to take 30 years, right? The East Bank's going to, because we are literally developing from scratch. But other things, they don't have to take 30 years. You just have to be decisive and say, this is what I want. Who can bring that to me? And then we make that decision, bring it to council, they vote on it, and we move forward. It doesn't have to be rocket science. And what has happened, every time somebody has gone into that mayor's office, they've gotten a big head and said, it's my way or the highway, and wanted to put their hands on things and not necessarily appreciating work that was done before them to continue that work. And then the last two mayors have been council members. And they seem to, certainly this one has forgotten what it was like to serve for 2 terms, but that's probably because he really didn't do any work when he was in there. He is the king of walking into a room and being there for 5 minutes and people recognize he was there and having done and said nothing. And that's what you're seeing in terms of leadership now.
Wow.
He's got photo ops during these 2 weeks where people were out of power, taking pictures with people during shift change or pictures with a chainsaw, cutting down wood, grinning. He went to the shelters once. He came to the Southeast Community Center once for 10 minutes.
Wow.
And I wasn't in the building.
What we're looking for, y'all, is servant leadership, y'all. She said something that was just so powerful right there. And that's something that me and Monica attest to about our life period is servanthood. And servanthood leadership leads to excellent outcome. It leads to progression. It leads to success. Amazing.
You want things to be better after you leave than before you came.
Yes.
And that was my goal for Antioch.
Right there, real quick. Let's jump in it because we got a little more time left. Let's talk about Chinatown real quick. Let's go there. What is Chinatown? What happened with it? What are your thoughts? Was it
And exactly
a
where
success?
is it?
Yes.
So it's right next to the Red Lobster. There's a shopping plaza right next to the Red Lobster where the Tasty Mart is. And then on the other side of that, there was the Calvary Logistics Building. Pan Asia Supermarket is the first building of Chinatown. Chinatown's going to have 3 buildings. They renovated that and turned it into a massive fresh market. The produce in there and it's just amazing. Vegetables, fruits, so fresh. They have a butcher shop. They also have a fish market. Jumbo size lobsters. They're selling fish in there that I've only seen on National Geographic. And also 3,500 square feet of a food area. So you can get fresh Thai, Vietnamese, Japanese food. There's barbecue, pork. They have fresh duck. They have a bakery. They have a boba tea in there. And all of the food is delicious. All of it.
And this is in Antioch where you said where Red Lobster is, where the old, I guess used to be Best Buy and
Correct.
all that. Okay.
Correct.
Across
And
the street from Hickory, the old Hickory
Yes.
Hollow Mall. Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
And then a second building has already been built. So right now, what we're getting ready to do is the second building, we're going to have a meeting. So all of those permits and inspections all go at the same time, but there'll be a bakery in there. There'll be a Korean fried chicken spot. There'll be a couple other food spots. Those will be the fast Asian. And then the third building is going to have a spa, retail, a community room, and the corporate offices for Tennessee's Chinatown. This is the only Chinatown in the state. And granted, it's different, right? It's different than being in most cities where it's several blocks, several restaurants, right? several stores. But this is our version of
Absolutely.
a Chinatown.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And the Asian community has been wanting this for years. So they are so excited to see it come to fruition.
I'm so excited for them as well because believe me, and I'm gonna say this, that their community knows how to really, really run business and are great entrepreneurs, and they have a motto that is so top tier, top notch. They work together as a community and everything. I mean, their service down to the fact of they have plenty of people behind the scenes running. They don't just have they run a tight ship. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna just say that right there. They run a tight ship. So I'm excited about Chinatown. We might even go check that out tonight. Look at that. That's why my wife got excited, y'all. That's why she got excited, Joe, because we got to go get something to eat, and we like different. So I'm welcoming Chinatown. Has it been a good turnout? What they said about the turnout?
What I was saying, it's had a line around the building every day that it's been open. It opened 3 weeks ago.
Every day it's been open, line around the building.
Yeah.
And how
It
late?
is
And how
super
late
busy.
does it stay open?
They're open until 8.
To 8.
Let's talk
And
about
tomorrow is Lunar New Year, so they'll have some extra goodies in there, I'm sure.
absolutely. Let's talk about that. I heard you talk about Target coming back to the Antioch area.
Super Target is on the way. Finally can make that announcement. That is going to be in Century Farms. We'll have another grocery opportunity in the area. So we'll have Kroger, the Super Target, and we'll have the Publix that's over on Murfreesboro Road.
Okay.
Which is critical. You need to have multiple options in terms of grocery. And the good news is that this is also going to help me with Kroger because it took me years to get them to dig up the linoleum floor in our Kroger. And I kept saying, can you just dig this up and polish the concrete? We've done all these other upgrades and renovations. When you're looking up and when you walk into the store, you're looking at the floor and it's linoleum and it's horrible. So finally have the polished concrete floors. I'm asking for some additional upgrades because I told them, I said, this area is changing. And if you want people to continue coming to this store, if they're provided with another experience that's going to be brand new and clean and gorgeous, no one's going to want to come here that you have been making a half effort into improving. So I think this is going to spur some more. And the AMC, in case you guys, you remember when the AMC was purchased from Regal and they came in and they did a renovation, but it was a partial renovation. So you have a beautiful new lobby and you have a bar, and then you go into the women's bathroom and they only updated half of the stall doors. They didn't take any of the 70s pink tile off the wall or off the floors. And so when I asked them, I said, help me make sense of this, please. Why do all this work, upgrading all the chairs to recliners and all of these things, and then to leave this bathroom like this? And they said, well, we ran out of the budget, and so we just, said we come back to it. So in speaking to the manager last month, he said that he thought that completed renovation was going to be coming. Because again, you have to have a comparable product as everything else is being elevated. If you have noticed on the corner of Mount View and Bell, we're about to get a brand new Pinnacle building is getting ready to be built there. And the people that bought that shopping plaza have just painted it and put brand new metal awnings out. So it's a beautiful shopping plaza. We're elevating.
So really quick.
Yeah, because it's got to be quick. Yeah,
I know.
Yes.
So how
How can people reach me? 1, yes, money. 2, I'm definitely going to need volunteers to help me door knock. That's going to be really critical. If you want to shoot me an email, my email address is stylesfordistrict32@gmail.com. stylesdsmfor32@gmail.com. Please let me know if you are interested in volunteering. I would love to work with you because it's going to take many hands on this plow to get our work done.
and if they want to contribute money, how do they do that?
So I have an Act Blue account, which is Friends of Joy Styles. If they go to Act Blue, they can Google that page and they can make a contribution there. I will be posting on my Facebook page, Councilwoman Joy Styles for District 32. I wanted to get out of this crisis.
Yeah,
That's important.
yes.
Can't ask
Definitely out of the
people
crisis.
for money when they're in the midst of a crisis. So I will be posting that link in the next couple of weeks as well.
So and y'all, it's about to come to an end. I hate it because I have so much more I want to ask you. I have so much more. So I pray that we can get you back. I was just gonna say that because we're gonna be forefront in helping. We're gonna do everything in our power to help you, Joy. We're gonna promote. We're gonna anything that you when you win. I want to be able to say that we were a part of just sparking people's mindset. We're going to donate. We're going to give. We're going to do everything in our power to let you win. Tell these people you love them before you get, because we with the whole entire hour. And we will bring you back, because the question I want to ask most of all is, what would you tell a young Black girl after you at the level that you at, and we can't do it right now. We got to do it later on because we got to get out of here, y'all. I love you all. You have been listening to WFTB 104.1 FM. Also, Sacrificial Conversations being recorded. TikTok family, we love y'all out there as well. The next mayor of Nashville, Tennessee is here. I'm speaking it. I'm saying that my faith is crazy like that, and we're going to combine our faith, our resources, everything that we possibly can. Monica, say something to the people real quick.
I was going to say, hey, make sure we get Joy Styles in leadership, mayor of Nashville. In what,
2027.
2027.
Y'all, we love y'all. Y'all be blessed. We be blessed. Be blessed. Be blessed. I told y'all it was going to be a good conversation. Sacrificial Conversations. Did you subscribe yet? Hit that like button. You might get something that's going to help your life. Y'all be blessed.